Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Corey and I am so excited for today's video. I have been feeling just so compelled to make a video like this to help other moms out. I'm going to be sharing with you my top 9 tips or 9 daily habits for becoming a happy and thriving mother, specifically a stay-at-home mother in 2024. I hope that today's video gives you the inspiration that you are looking for. And I did make a free downloadable PDF that you can get in the link in the description down below. And I'll also post it in the first pinned comment so it's easy to find. That way you can just download it from your email and you don't have to worry about writing these 9 habits down. And I promise you, these are not the unhelpful tips of wake up before your child and get ready for the day, because my kid wakes up at 5 a.m. So I'm certainly not waking up before him. And honestly, even if he woke up at 7 a.m., I still wouldn't wake up before him because this girl needs as much sleep as she can get. So these are some unique habits that I have personally implemented in my life to become a happy and thriving stay-at-home mom. And I know that these can help you out as well. Obviously, you are going to have your ups and downs as a mom, and every day is not going to be sunshine and roses, but I promise these 9 habits can really help you thrive as a parent. I didn't realize Tank was here coming to join us today. Okay, so my first habit that I think is super important to implement is to do a quick gratitude journaling every morning. I like to write down 3 things that I am thankful for. Usually it includes my son, my husband, my dogs, my house, things like that. But I also like to share this with my son. So while we are sitting down to eat our breakfast, I will write down the 3 things that I'm grateful for and why I'm grateful for them. I don't know if you can see this dog too, but expressing gratitude is associated with so many mental health benefits. And I find that just by starting my day with reminding myself all of the blessings that I have and all the things that I'm grateful for really just sets my day off on a positive note. And this doesn't have to take 20 minutes. It takes me 2 minutes to write these things down. And I like to share them with my son, even though he might not really understand them right now. I think it's so important to share with children or to teach children how to be grateful and how to show gratitude towards things. So that is my tip number 1. Start every day with a list of things that you are grateful for. Okay, so tip number 2, after I make my short and quick gratitude list, I like to make a daily goals list. And this isn't so much of like what I want to accomplish in the day. So I'm not writing down like I want to do the dishes or walk the dogs, things like that. It's more about how I want to feel. So how do I want to feel that day, and what are the things or the steps that I can take to accomplish those feelings? So that kind of doesn't make sense, but it's more of thinking outside the box. So for example, my husband, a couple weeks ago, he said, you're complaining a lot. You've been complaining a lot. You're a complainer. And I am like, I'm not a complainer, but I guess I had been complaining about dumb things a lot to him. So one of the things that I like to write down is try not to complain or think before you speak. Another thing is speak kindly to yourself. I am someone that when I get into a negative mindset, I can have a lot of negative thoughts about myself. So it's just things like that you can go back during the day and remind yourself of, okay, I'm going to speak nicely to myself. Or if you feel like these intrusive thoughts are coming up, to refer back to that and say, I'm not going to think like that today. I'm going to think positive, or I'm not going to complain today, things like that. So, I mean, you can write down things that you want to accomplish as well, but it's more about how do you want to feel that day versus the task that you want to get done, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does, because that is something that has really helped me mentally as a stay-at-home mom feel better about the job that I'm doing and just control my my mentality a lot better. So hopefully that one helps and makes sense. Okay, tip number 3 is to get outside daily. Rain, shine. I mean, obviously, weather can affect this, but we try to get out. We set a goal for an hour a day. Sometimes we don't get to an hour, and some days we don't get outside, but I try to make it a goal to get outside every single day. And this really did start with wanting to get my son outside more. And I realized that we were getting out when we were getting outside, the days that we were getting outside, I was feeling so much better, so much less anxiety. And it makes a lot of sense because nature really calms anxiety and calms the mind and calms the soul and can really decrease overstimulation. So while it's such a benefit for your children to get outside, it's really a benefit for you as a parent to get outside as well. So obviously, there are going to be days where you're not going to make it outside, but to have a daily goal to get outside is such a good way to bring peace and calm to your life as it gets so chaotic as a parent. So that is something that has helped me tremendously, is to just get outside. And even if it's only for a half an hour, it can really help boost your mood and help with mental health and anxiety and things like that. So definitely make it a point to get yourself outside, and it's super beneficial for your children too. Overall, it's just so much better than sitting around watching TV, even if it's just for a quick walk or to go out in the backyard or something like that. Obviously, in the summer, we try to get out as much as possible, but with these winter months coming up, it makes it a little bit hard. But just to have that daily goal can really make a big impact in your mental health as a parent. Okay, tip number 4 is probably a hard one for most of you. It was for me, but decreasing time on social media has tremendously impacted my happiness as a mom and as a stay-at-home mom. I found myself constantly just aimlessly scrolling through Instagram and not really getting any value out of it. And I was taking time away from my son, and he was seeing me on my phone scrolling, and that just is not something that I want. It was just a distraction, and honestly it was just causing a lot of overstimulation and a lot of negative feelings. So, and this is coming from someone who makes YouTube videos, but really curating the type of content that you are consuming and just decreasing social media in general has really, really improved my mental health and happiness as a parent. I feel like I have more time for my own hobbies, and I'm just wasting less time aimlessly scrolling through social media. I deleted Instagram off my phone. I never had a TikTok. I still get on Facebook every once in a while, but my Facebook is mainly just very close friends and family. And I still watch YouTube, just not as much because I do find value in YouTube. But again, you just need to really curate the type of content that you are watching and consuming and how many hours a day you are actually on those social media platforms. So you can always, you don't have to delete the platform like I did. You don't have to go to the extreme, but you can set time limits on your phone for how much you spend on social media. And I think once you actually look into how much time you're spending on these platforms, you'll be absolutely blown away by how much time is wasted by just aimlessly scrolling. So that has been something that I feel very passionate about, is decreasing time on social media and curating the type of content that you are consuming. That has helped me out so much, and I just feel much lighter and less weighed down by this content that doesn't really provide me any value. So tip number 5, since I stopped consuming so much social media and even television, I have decided to make time for reading, which has been a really great way to calm my mind and de-stimulate from the day and really just relax after a hard day of being a parent. It is so much less stimulating than watching TV or scrolling through social media, and it's also way more energizing for me personally. So I like to read a lot of books on parenting and just how to better yourself in general, like self-help type books, things like that. And so that really while it calms my brain, it also stimulates my brain in a good way to think differently and challenge my thoughts. I probably hadn't read a book in 5 years, and I've already read, since implementing this, a few books. I mean, I try to aim for 10 pages a day. Sometimes I don't get any pages, and sometimes I get 20 pages, but my goal is 10 pages a day. And I feel like the gaps where I used to fill my day just aimlessly scrolling through social media, I'll read a couple pages, and I find that books are really more inspiring than Instagram or Facebook or something like that. So, reading has become a staple in my mental health as a parent, and it just has challenged my brain in more ways than social media ever could. So, if you hopefully you take these tips to heart and really try them out for a substantial period of time and replace some of your social media time with reading. I'll also, if my son is playing independently in the corner, I find that it's so much better for him to see me reading a book versus on my phone. Obviously, I like to be present with my son, but sometimes if he's playing, you need some downtime and you need some relaxation time as well. But I feel like it just looks so much better and sets a better example for him to be reading versus on social media or on my phone or on some type of electronic device. So give reading a try, 10 pages a day, or set a goal for yourself. But it really has helped me out mentally as a parent. Tip number 6, get your exercise in daily or as close to daily as possible. I am someone who always exercised regularly, but when I became a parent, I kind of let my fitness and my exercise routine go to the wayside. And I really wasn't taking care of myself in the way that I needed to. I just wasn't prioritizing it. And self care is so important as a parent to really be a happy and thriving parent. And even if you never previously exercised, I promise you, coming up with a very simple exercise routine is massively going to increase your happiness as a parent. I was not prioritizing exercise, and when I started prioritizing it again, I really noticed a difference in my mental health, in my confidence as a parent, my confidence as a person, and just physically feeling better can make all of the difference. As a parent and as a stay-at-home mom, you need that at least 30 minutes a day to decompress and get your heart rate up and challenge yourself in new ways that you might not have ever done or you previously did before you had children. But I can promise you that having a solid exercise routine will massively improve your happiness as a parent. Okay, so tip number 7 is to slow down and be more present. And this really stemmed from me decreasing my time on social media and deleting Instagram and things like that. It just really allowed me to be more present for my son, which in turn made me feel better as a parent. The days where, I get it, as a stay-at-home mom, it can seem like Groundhog Day, and sometimes you get caught up in just scrolling. And I feel like when I had those days, I would feel such bad guilt at the end of the day. Like I wasn't even present for my son. And I feel so lucky to have this time with my son. And I was just not present for it. Like mentally, I was somewhere else. I was in my phone. And when I really took the time to slow down and be present and spend quality time with him, it massively improved my thoughts about myself as a parent, which again improved my happiness as a parent. And you only get one chance for your child to be this young, and they just keep growing, and there's always, every day is a new stage. And I swear every day I get him out of his crib and he's like an inch taller and he's learning something new, and I just wanted to be present for that. And by really making a conscious effort to not be distracted by all these other things, that it has really improved my confidence as a parent and my happiness as a parent. So it's just important to, I know that our lives can get busy and there's the daily grind of getting things done, but just to take a minute every day, not take a minute every day, but take time every day to consciously be present for your child and really for yourself. So, tip number 8, and I feel like a lot of this kind of stems back to being overstimulated. But tip number 8 is to avoid becoming overstimulated. Now, obviously, we can't control things like your dog's barking or, your child crying or screaming or things like that, but we can control our controllables. And really, by not becoming overstimulated, can really help you as a parent not to lose your cool or need to take time away from your child. Being stimulated, when your child is overstimulated, it's never good, but that's also true for parents. You need to make sure that you don't get overstimulated at all costs. And obviously, you cannot accomplish this every day. There are still so many days where by the end of the day, I'm just so touched out. I don't want anyone to even look at me or talk to me. Like my poor dog will try and sit on my lap and I'm just like, no, like I can't be touched right now. But to try and decrease your overstimulation is such a beneficial thing when it comes to being a parent. So ways to reduce overstimulation is, of course, decreasing screen time. So anytime on electronics, TV, obviously your phone, tablets, things like that. Another way to decrease overstimulation is by dimming the lights in your house or just using natural light. Or you can use low light like lamps. My husband will tell you if he turns on the overhead lights full blast, I look like I might kill him. And the lights can just be so overstimulating. And by having bright lights on all day, it really can cause overstimulation in your brain. At least for me, I might just be a more sensitive person to stimulation, but if you are, that's something that you can really consider, just using low lights or natural light, and just really decreasing how bright those overhead lights are in your home. Getting outside in nature, we already talked about this, is a great way to decrease stimulation. It calms the mind and decreases anxiety and can really leave you feeling much calmer and less overstimulated than you were before. So if you are feeling like you're getting overstimulated, go outside with your child or take them to a nature preserve or somewhere out in the woods that is less noisy and there's just less noise pollution, and it really will decrease the stimulation that you are feeling. You can also avoid overly fragrant scents in your home. This can be very stimulating without you really realizing that. So either opt for natural scents like simmer pots, but just avoid those really fragrant like Glade plugins or the Febreze. Like those can really overstimulate your senses without you even realizing it. So ditch those really fragrant candles or the perfume that is super fragrant and go for a more natural scent, to help, again, just decrease or just to control your controllables as a parent. Like I said, you're not going to be able to control everything like dogs barking, kids screaming, things like that. But it's the little things every day that can control that overstimulation. Another thing that you can do is just engage in quiet activities with your child, like reading or drawing or something like that, where you don't have the TV on, you don't have any music on, and you're just, quietly being present with your child, doing a very quiet activity. That can help decrease overstimulation for yourself as well as your kid, which can be very beneficial. And then the last thing that I noticed was I felt like on my son's naps, if I was doing the dishes or something like that, I would be listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video or having the TV on, which I still do that, because I think that there's a time and a place for all of those things. But I noticed that the days where I was just feeling very overwhelmed, if I added in that, that noise basically, I it wouldn't really relax me and I wouldn't feel as rejuvenated as I should have when my son woke up from his nap. So sometimes I will just, you know, do the dishes without having any type of distractions, or clean without having any type of distractions, or, you know, it's a perfect time to quietly read and just recharge and kind of get your brain under control. So those hopefully are some helpful tips to decrease stimulation as a parent throughout the day. And then tip number 9 is to make time for your own hobbies. And I'm not saying that you need to do your own hobbies every single day, but if you are engaging in something that's interesting to you, you know, every couple weeks or so, that can really make a big difference in your mental health. So for me, I really like to do photography as a hobby, and that's something that I can do with my son too. Like, we can go out to the park and I can take pictures of him. I did some photographs of my friend and her boyfriend, and just little things like that you can implement, you know, into your weekly rhythm or every couple weeks to really make sure that you are stimulating your mind and engaging in activities that are restorative to you and make you feel happy and alive. Because I think we can get so caught up in taking care of everyone else's needs that we forget to take care of our own needs. And having a hobby and pursuing your own interests are really a part of that. So make time for those interests. If you don't have a hobby, try out new things. I mean, try out photography, try out pottery, or you know, I don't know, look up some hobbies. Um, I would like to start, you know, trying new things as well, but it is hard with a kid. You can really only fit in so many things during the week. But just taking care of yourself, again, this is another aspect where self-care comes in. You really need to make sure that you're pursuing your interests as well. And I just thought of another one that I have been doing, another tip that I think, like, this just came to me. Something that I've been doing that wasn't necessarily intentional to try and be happier as a person, but I think that this can really help you guys too, to set long-term goals for yourself. I think this is so important because when, you know, before I had kids, I had all these goals and aspirations, and I had career goals. I was, you know, right before I quit my job, I became a supervisor at my job, which was on my goal, my long-term goal list. And I think when I became a stay-at-home mom a year ago, I didn't have any long-term goals. This is just coming to me, so hopefully this is making sense to you guys. But I think that this can really be helpful. But recently, I started making more long-term goals for myself. Obviously, when I started this YouTube channel, I had the goal to make videos every week for you guys and get monetized, and that really helped my mental health so much, was to have kind of that secondary purpose. And then another goal that I just set for myself a couple weeks ago that has really helped me so much mentally was, after, you know, I'm done having kids, specifically after this baby, I would love to compete in bodybuilding again. I competed before I was pregnant, and then after having my son, I really like I talked about before, I let my fitness really fall to the wayside. And so something that has helped me get back into fitness, because that is a hobby and a passion of mine, was setting the long-term goal to compete after having a child. So that has helped me, like, mentally not overeat food that I don't need to be eating, and really get my workouts in, because I want to build that muscle to have that good solid foundation for when I do go to prep for another show, I'll be in a good spot. So hopefully that makes sense, but just to have long-term goals. So it could be like, in a couple of years you want to run a marathon, or you've always had goals of writing a book or something like that, but a goal that you can work towards every single day, even if you want to accomplish the goal in a few years, really can give you more purpose as a stay-at-home mom and as a parent, than just going through the daily motions. Okay, so there you have it, guys. These are my 9+1 tips for becoming a happy and thriving parent in 2024. I do have that free downloadable PDF with all of the tips minus tip number 10 because I just thought of that just now, for you to download for free. So you can grab that in the description down below so you can have that on hand and just refer back to that whenever you need a reminder. So try out these habits for at least 30 days, at least, but I promise you these will help you become a happier and thriving parent in 2024. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video and got some value of it. I really do want to bring value to this community and to you guys and really help you become happier, more productive parents, whether it's cleaning your home, decluttering, or just life in general. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.